Grown men fighting over toys. Sad. Just sad.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. There's been a lot of drama going on in the G.I. Joe classified community. Now, a couple of weeks ago, two very popular G.I. Joe classified YouTube channels, the Viper Island channel and the Artist Shark channel, wound up getting taken down due to possible false flagging. And I say possible false flagging because when it comes to a copyright strike, usually it takes someone from a company like Hasbro filing a DCMA claim to YouTube in order to get that channel taken down. And that's something I don't really see Hasbro doing because that would alienate their entire customer base. No, when it looks like for me, as related to this whole case of false flagging, is that this is done by individuals who are either jealous of both of these channels, building up their audience by views of information regarding the G.I. Joe classified line, and the revelation of upcoming future figures in the line. And that possibly is the reason for all of this animosity that's going on in the G.I. Joe classified collecting community, where some people are saying that that whole collecting group is becoming just as toxic as many collectors say that the Hot Wheels groups are, and that's really something that is quite troubling because people shouldn't be getting this emotional and this personal over action figures that are made in China, are basically put on pre-order and sold, and eventually some will wind up in remainders and sent over to places like Ollie's. Now, this whole situation for me has me scratching my head because I have been collecting toys since 1988, and as I've been collecting toys since 1988, I have not seen any sort of adversity as related to action figures in the over 35 years I have been collecting toys, and I've never seen people getting this emotional and taking things this personal as related to a toy line like I'm seeing with all of this drama going on as related to the G.I. Joe classified line. No, I've been collecting lines for years such as Real Ghostbusters, Superpowers, Total Justice, even the X-Men lines and the Iron Man lines of the 90s, and I even went on to collect lines that came before Marvel Legends. And usually when it comes to the toy collecting community, the toy collecting community is quite friendly, and everybody just tries to keep everything cool because we all want to get these toys. And when it comes to the toy companies, they usually don't mind the leaks because the leaks are something that they use to go out and build the buzz in order to get people talking on places like message boards like the Foosh, or get them anticipating an upcoming line so that when these days a pre-order comes up on a place like Big Bad Toy Store, they can build enough buzz to get people putting in pre-orders to the point where this figure basically winds up either selling out at a place like Big Bad Toy Store or a place like Hasbro Pulse. So, as I've seen in the past from my trips to New York Comic Con, you had people at companies like Mattel when the DC Universe Classic line was going on, and Toy Biz had Marvel Legends, and even Hasbro had Marvel Legends. What they would do is go out here and look to build that buzz and that excitement by going out here and teasing what lines were going to be coming out and putting out speculated lists of figures that would come out. And this was how they wound up building that excitement and anticipation. And I even remember back in 2008 when I went to my first New York Comic Con, they teased as related to a picture after they did an event for the DC Universe Classic line, an upcoming figure. And again, this was something that has been done for years in the toy community. I mean, it's been done for years that you wanted to build Buzz, but somewhere in the G.I. Joe Classified line, when it comes to preview figures, there seems to be this whole campaign to start talking about flagging people's channels like Viper Island and the artist Shark for showing pictures of upcoming figures. And this is being done to again create this whole controversy regarding copyright strikes, which makes no sense to me because again, this is not material that's being used to be able to profit someone. No, under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976, a person is supposed to be able to use these pictures under fair use for criticism and commentary. But in the G.I. Joe Classified community, there has been this whole drama about using these pictures, and this has been used as a reason to take people's channels and give them copyright strikes and get their channels taken down. That's where I have a real issue as related to this whole situation, because again, this is just people reporting on toys, which has been done for years. I mean, people have been taking preview pictures from images of figures from China and showing off things ever since the late 90s when the internet was just getting started. I remember websites like Raving Toy Maniac used to show previews of figures all the time, and Toy Biz never got mad because they were out here saying, yeah, those pictures are out here, but that's going to lead to us getting sales in the long term because it's going to build that excitement and that buzz for that upcoming figure that would lead to people back then looking to wait outside Toys R Us and KB Toys. So toy companies have always been good about, okay, yeah, these pictures are out here, and they have never wanted to go out here and attack all these platforms like YouTube as related to those pictures. No, they've always just given a wink to those pictures and moved on. And in the case of these pictures that are being presented, they're saying, oh, Viper Island stole the pictures, or artist Shark basically was using these pictures, and this is the reason for these copyright strikes. And again, if you understand how YouTube operates, that really doesn't make logical sense, because again, you would have to get a DCMA sent to YouTube in order to get that picture taken down, and that's the only reason that there would be a possible claim as related to those copyright strikes. And again, that doesn't make logical sense because again, toy companies for decades have been having these pictures come out online and never had a problem about it, never had an issue with it. No, they always saw it as a good thing because this person is basically advertising your product and getting the word out about your product, and it's a person getting that word out about your product that gets people excited for picking up new product. So it's a win-win situation for the toy companies like Hasbro, a win-win for the YouTuber because they're getting clicks and views based on building that anticipation. So I'm looking at this situation and I'm scratching my head about why there's so much animosity among the G.I. Joe Classified collectors when other collecting groups like those of us who collect Marvel Legends, those of us who collect independent comic characters like the ones I have displayed behind me, the Women of Dynamite from Vampirella to Red Sonja and Purgatory. I mean, a lot of creators want that buzz and that heat because that buzz and that heat means you're gonna get a figure to sell out, and that means you're gonna be able to build that demand in order to do things like create more figures or build up an extra run. And it's really sad to me that there's this drama going on among the G.I. Joe Classified collectors because you got people, again, arguing and fighting over figures that we have been waiting years for. I mean, I remember in the early 2000s when Double Dealer, who currently I think still works for Hasbro, came out with his customs of G.I. Joe characters. And back then I wanted 6-inch G.I. Joe figures because I never had the money to be able to afford the 3 3/4 G.I. Joe figures. And I love the idea of having G.I. Joes that could be of the same scale as Marvel Legends and DC Universe Classics. And it really saddens me that you have people, again, fighting back and forth, something I have never seen in the toy collecting community in my over 30 years of being a toy collector. I mean, I've never seen people arguing and fighting over G.I. Joe, over action figures, the way they fight over G.I. Joe classified figures. No, usually in the toy collecting community, people are very civil. I mean, you could go to any toy collecting board, whether it be the Foosh or any other board, and people are usually just fairly civil about toys, and they're very excited about anticipating picking up whatever figure. And that's usually how civil things are. But with the G.I. Joe classified community online, especially with YouTube, it seems like there's just some sort of hostility where people want to be able to say, hey, I got the scoop on these figures. No, it doesn't matter who gets the scoop or who gets the credit. It's about, again, getting people excited about these figures so that we can get more characters in the line. And that's where people get it twisted, and that's why we've got all this drama going on as related to figures that are going to come out this year and next year. And again, many of these figures will be on sale at places like Target and Walmart, and eventually some is going to wind up at Ollie's. But you got grown men getting in their feelings to the point where they want to, again, participate in this dysfunctional campaign of false flagging. And it's really troubling to me because, again, this is not how it usually goes in the toy collecting community. No, in the toy collecting community, usually folks are real chill. Usually with toy collectors, we're real chill dudes. And, you know, if we know that a figure is somewhere, we'll tell somebody where it is so they can go get it. Because we know that the more people who get these figures creates a situation where the company wants to see more people buying figures. And this kind of controversy doesn't really get people buying figures. It just alienates people, and it makes people look at all toy collectors with a bit of a side eye instead of seeing us as people who are passionate about characters that we grew up with. I mean, I grew up with G.I. Joe in the 80s, and as someone who grew up with G.I. Joe in the 80s, I look at the behavior of these guys out here doing these type of things, and they've acted more like Cobra forces with this kind of promoting this dysfunction instead of going out here and promoting the civility so that we can continue to see great characters be able to be made in the classified line. I mean, this is not the kind of thing that gets people excited about a toy line. It just turns them off. And it's really sad because the classified line is growing and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I was really excited when I first heard about these figures during the pandemic in 2020. And I quickly put in my pre-order because this was something I was looking forward to for years. And I was just glad to see 6-inch Joes. And what's sad is we've got, in 4 years into the line, people just acting a fool, looking to get channels taken down. Channels that were actually building buzz for Hasbro. That's why I say I can't really be Hasbro doing this as related to these pictures, because those pictures were going to go out here and help them get good business, because those pictures were the thing that were going to fuel the pre-orders. Not just the live streams that were produced by Hasbro, it's the small YouTube channels like Shark and Viper Island that really got people excited. I mean, even channels like Ironkin 3000. I mean, I love watching this channel and seeing them go out here and present the figures and talk about figures. This is what gets people excited and builds the buzz. And I don't think that Hasbro would be dumb enough to go out here and start attacking their customer base, because that's just not what they've done in the past. That's not what Mattel has done. That's not what Toy Biz has done. I mean, you don't attack your customers who are getting the word out. No, you just let the word get out. And the word is going to get out on message boards like the Foosh and Reddit and all over the place. That's where I saw pictures of the Nemesis Immortals head and all this other stuff. Again, this stuff has been getting out online for years, and toy companies don't really used to not care. But I look at this situation with the classified collectors, and again, it's just one that just makes me shake my head, because I've never seen people act like this over figures in the 30 years plus years I've been collecting, and I've never seen people going this crazy over a toy line, going crazy to the point where you're looking to take down another person's channel because you're jealous of them getting views and clicks. Again, views and clicks for a toy line you don't own. You ain't getting none of the money for. I mean, yeah, this guy's getting, maybe he might get some AdSense dollars here or there, but you ain't really getting none of that money from Hasbro as related to this line. And again, making the toy collecting community that much harder, because it becomes that much harder to sell toys when we can't get the word out. So I really believe it's time for Hasbro to step in as related to this situation, and let all these toy collectors who are out here doing this false flagging know that this stuff ain't cool. They need to come in and let people know, look, this just ain't cool as related to building buzz, because if you've got all these guys acting up, it's really going to destroy the momentum for these toys as related to pre-order and sales, and it's going to, hurt the business of Hasbro, which is already struggling because they already had to lay off workers. And instead of us getting buzz for new classified figures, we get no figures at all because some people got in their feelings and got jealous and are looking to start a war over toys, that again come out every year. And it's just ridiculous to go out here and start waging war over toys, getting channels taken down. I mean, this is the kind of nonsense that we had on the black sector of YouTube with the gender war back from about 2009 to 2012. And it really disappoints me to see this come into the toy community, to see people acting a fool like this over classified figures that, again, we were waiting for years, and may possibly lead to the fall of this line, all because people in their feelings about toys. And again, this just really shows how petty and childish these kind of guys are. Now, if you want to pick up my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu.com right now in paperback, and you can pick it up for the same price as it was on the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to pick up some of my action-packed fantasy fiction on the SJS Direct universe, you can find the books of the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my Black Vampire novel Eternal Night, and my sorority novel The Thetas, and A Recipe for Success. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos about toys and toy collecting, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App to help me buy more toys for toy reviews, or be able to buy more comics for comic reviews. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback at e-readers, ISIS, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.